What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video where we have the WS6 finally back on the channel. It's had a super long hiatus and I'm sorry for that, but that being said, I'm just a normal guy and I'm doing these things as often as I can and as is practical because I do have other things that I'm obligated to take care of. I don't do YouTube full time. This is just a hobby that I started filming. So the Trans Am here is finally getting some love that it desperately needs. In today's video, we're getting the front bumper cover addressed, the rear bumper cover addressed, taking off some decals, restoring the taillights and replacing the Trans Am decal on the back, retuning the car for the new rear gear ratio and the wheel and tire size, and we're going to go beat on it a little bit. So quite a bit going on in this video, and it's been filmed over the course of the last couple weeks. Not to be a broken record, but if you are not subscribed to the channel, definitely do it. Been doing this as a hobby for the last year or so pretty regularly, and it's getting a little bit of traction, which is super cool. And thanks to all you guys that are commenting. Like always, I try and get back to you as much as I can in the videos, which is pretty regular, I think. So if you got any questions or anything on this car or the third gen behind me, definitely drop me a line. I'll do my best to answer stuff. If not, there's other people that are commenting, and it's sort of become a little bit of a forum on YouTube, which is kind of nice, and you can get some good info. So enough of me rambling about this. We're going to get right into today's video where I found a set of C5 Corvette wagon wheels locally. I'm just going to show you them real quick. I do go over cleaning them up a little bit, and I don't know what I'm going to do with them exactly. They'll be burnout tires or spare wheels and tires, or here's a little bit about those. Alright, so first order of business in today's video, I've got to unload this sweet set of C5 wagon wheels and tires that I got on Facebook Marketplace for 50 bucks. 50 bucks for all four with center caps and lug nuts and like brand new tires. So those of you out there that think you spend too much time on there, it is worth it, and the proof is here. One of the tires is bad. Well, the two front ones are actually getting pretty low. It had an alignment issue on the Corvette that it came off of, so as you can see, they're pretty dirty. So I'm going to clean them up, and I think they're going to make for some great beater tires for the Trans Am, which is exactly what they're going to be for. So there's a little bit of the cleanup on them. As you can see, I got some paint on one of the tires. Fortunately, I didn't get it on the rim, but I do a lot of house projects and a little collateral damage on one. But we're going to get into the next part of the video, which is actually going to be restoring the rear center section of the taillight. Is restoring the rear taillight housings. This is my first attempt at doing this sort of thing with a buffer and different grades of buffing compound, and I did get a new Trans Am replacement decal from Tracy Keck, who's on Instagram, so definitely check his page out. You can get a replacement Trans Am decal just like this for not a lot of money, and honestly, this thing looks great. I've watched this a couple times and it's holding up awesome, and the bright red is perfect on the back of this car. So here's how I went about restoring the rear taillight center section. Alright, for this part of the video, I'm actually going to replace the Trans Am decal and the Firebird, which is super faded. It's basically gone on my car. So here's a little closer view of it. Yours might be in similar condition. I mean, these cars are getting up to over 20 years old right now, so that is something that's going to be common if it's seen some sunlight. And mine has a bunch of love marks on the taillights as well, as far as like fine scratches and stuff, and some very slight scuffs, which are probably going to be kind of hard to see on camera, but I'll do my best to kind of get the right angle. It's hard with the sunlight, but you can kind of see scuff marks as I kind of move around, and I'm going to buff these taillights out. I'm going to make sure that they're nice and clean before I actually put the buffer to them. I've got a foam pad and polishing compound, so this is going to be a very gentle way to do it. I'm not going to go too aggressive. Alright, so just after a couple of minutes, here's the general finish of the other one. Pretty rough, scratched, dull. Just a couple of minutes, we got pretty much a mirror finish on this taillight housing. Tell me if you can see any problems. It's looking mint. So This took all of 2 minutes to do, and it's making these things look awesome. There's a couple of deep scratches here and there that I'm going to work on just a little bit more, but there's a little bit of a diminishing return with this sort of thing. Anyone else just looking at this isn't going to be as critical of it as you or I are, so I'm going to spend just a little bit more time on it. I'm going to polish it up again with the polishing compound and move on to the other side and then finish up on the center section. So far so good. It's very hard to tell, but like in person there's so many fine scratches. I really don't know that this is going to come across very well. In person it's night and day better. I guess you kind of got to take my word for it. This one is really, really dulled up. So.
Alright, so there we go, guys. I got all 3 sections done. I finished them with a glazing compound, and look at that.
It looks even better in person, I'm telling you. There's going to be some small defects because these are 20 years old. They're not going to be like buying a brand new lens for it, but this is so much better than it was. Especially check out the center section here. Look at how deep it looks now. It almost looks like I bought a new one and installed it. Now, you can see kind of a silhouette of the old decals. I didn't want to go too aggressive with this and actually get down to that level where they're gone. Another thing it's going to do is actually let me use that as a template to where to land the new decals. I took measurements on where they were, so I did have reference points, but this is actually going to be even better because the transfer tape is clear, and maybe this will let me line it up just perfect. So that'll be the next step. I got to do a little bit more cleanup, but this is going to be almost done. I prepped the area with mineral spirits to get any waxes and everything off, so I'm going to get a good adhesion with my new decals. So I'm going to throw those on and we'll see what it looks like. And there you have it. There's the new Trans Am decal in there. The bird that I've got is just slightly cockeyed, and that's for me installing it. I got it all lined up on this side, and then the far side here, the corner is just off a touch. So that sucks, but you really won't be able to tell. I'll probably be the only one that knows it. It just looks like a little bit like a hologram, but overall, if I step back and take a look at it, that's about 500 times better than it was. So that decal is worth the money. I have a cheap orbital buffer. It takes a couple of types of compound, and I clean that whole center section taillight lenses right up, and it looks awesome. So along with the new decal, the rear end of the car looks great now. I'm actually surprised that I took so long. I put off doing this little job so long. So that's all done. And after looking at this third brake light housing, it's pretty, it kind of sticks out. I think I'm going to black that out too. At least I'll tint it. So I might take that off, buff it, tint it, and then give it a little polish, and hopefully a rattle can job will look pretty good on it. So that might be the next thing, but anyways, that rounds out this job. So hope you guys like it. Once again, check out Tracy's Instagram. Those decals turned out awesome. He makes hood ones as well, and I bet you he would even make custom ones if you hit him up for it, if you're willing to pay for them. So I hope you found that interesting. This is my first attempt at it, and as you can see, this is about a week after I did it. You can't really see any scratches or anything. It looks awesome. So that turned out really good. It was one eyesore that I didn't realize was as bad as it was until I fixed it. One other thing I did while I was at it, which turned out okay, I'm not super happy with it, was I did shade this third brake light housing, and I'll show you a good light. I'm not going to hide anything from you guys. There's a little bit of rippling in it, and I guess it's called crazing. I put a lot of clear coat over this trying to take care of that. I haven't buffed it yet, but it's had enough time where I think if I actually go ahead and buff it, I'm not just going to take the clear coat right off of it. So there might be some way that I can save this and make it look really good, but compared to the faded red housing, that's what we got now. Turned out pretty good. So in person you can see through it still. Lights are pretty bright on it, so that's one thing you can DIY for maybe 20 bucks. You can do that yourself. So that's what I did there, and replacement one on Rockout was like 60 bucks, so I think I breathed a little bit of life back into it. But after that point, I did spend some time with the wheels here, and I'm going to go over real quick what I did with the Mother's Powerball, cleaning up these wheels, and kind of giving some new life back into them too. So I probably spent 5 minutes on each wheel using the Mother's cone or power cone. I don't know if that's what you call it, but I used that in their mag polish, and man, these turned out really, really good. all the fading and oxidation that was kind of starting to show up on the wheels from years of riding them without actually polishing them, it was starting to become pretty evident. Even on the black centers, the paint was starting to show its scratches, and this actually took all that out. If I hit them one more time, they'd look mint. The back ones are pretty bad because they get a lot of brake dust. They got a wider lip on them, but the lip turned out mint. Looks really good. It didn't leave swirl marks or anything. Anything that's left over there is pretty much just some pitting on the wheel, so these are going to be good for a long time. I didn't care for these until I actually got them cleaned up, and they actually look really good on the car now that they look good and they got some shine back in them. So I'm going to finish up the other side and we're going to move on to the next part of the video. So the wheels turned out really good, and that's going to wrap up that part of this video. They've never really looked that great, so super happy with how they turned out. The car is starting to get a little bit of wear on it. I mean, it is an older vehicle at this point, and a lot of the stuff that's on it is older, but all this DIY stuff you can really do at home, and it doesn't cost a lot of money, and you get a heck of a result if you put your time into it. So in time, a couple weeks ago, is when I hop in with HP Tuners, and I do have to recalculate the rear ring and pinion, going from a 342 gear ratio to a 391 gear ratio, which is in the strange 12 bolt that's in the car, and I actually have to adjust the tire size or the tire height. I did one attempt at this, and it was wrong. My speedometer was about 10 miles an hour off, and for some reason the tire height changed, or it was never actually right to begin with in the car, but a little bit of frustration, a couple takes at it, I got it perfect, I had a little bit of a curveball, but speedometer's dead on now. So here's that part. Currently it shows it as being a 28-inch tire and a 391 gear ratio, so I'm going to actually change that to a slightly smaller tire, which would make sense as me going slower than I think I'm going to, because it thinks it has a taller tire on it. So I'll change that real quick, we'll go for a little drive and see if it fixed it, and go from there. Just a quick note on tire size. Inevitably somebody will probably ask about it, but I just laid something flat across the top of the tire right in the center, and put up my tape measure, and I just looked at where level is. You're measuring the total diameter of the tire. Obviously it'll change when it's wearing down a little bit like mine is, so I don't think I lost 4 inches though. I think going from 28 to 24 might be our whole ticket here. Alright, so I've changed it to 24.62, which is the equivalence of those 2 decimal places of 5/8 of an inch into decimal form. So we'll adjust it, and changed our multiplier by the looks of it, and that'll be it. So we'll close this, check out our speedo. It changed this, so revolutions per mile, it actually went way up, so our speedo should be fixed, I'm hoping. What's nice about HP Tuners is it does change things on its own. Those fields that are red is what changed since I previously opened this file, so hopefully that's all it's going to change. You can check some other areas, nothing in the trans diagnostic. Trans is all going to be the same. So some of the stuff is a little bit different, but anyways, that'll be it. I'm going to write this to the ECU, and that'll be it. There we go. See if our cable's connected. Looks like it must be. So there we go, we're writing, and we'll be off in no time. I'll just verify this with the GPS speedometer, like something you do on your phone. They're super accurate once you're on the highway, so I'll just check it against that, and we should be good to go here. That's one thing that I did not check or change was the tire size, and I think that's what was going on. Alright, we're all done here, so I think it's safe to say that we can go for a little ride here. Talking. So I'm gonna go see if my speedometer issue's fixed. There you go. 60 miles an hour. 60 miles an hour. Mint. Well, I hope you guys like that. There was a little bit of a burnout there. I did it in second gear. I didn't have any water on the road or anything like that, but the rear tires on this car are really bad, so I don't feel too bad beating on them. I'm trying to get my money's worth before I get a new set on the back. I'm looking at getting a set of Nitto tires. If you guys have any recommendations as far as like a good multi-use autocross drag racing road tire would be, definitely let me know, because I'm looking at getting a matching set for the front and back. I don't really want a drag radial on the back and a street tire on the front. I like a matching setup. So drop a comment down below if you have any recommendations on tires. So now that that's all squared away, we're going to get into the last part of the video, which was actually dropping the car off at a body shop, which was painful to do, but I'm glad I did, because it turned out perfect. I've got a beautiful partner in the chase truck. We're gonna go drop the car off, finally, to get a little bit of body work done to it. So we're off and rolling. Truck there, but anyways, here we are at Legacy Collision. Just did the work on the Corvette, and they're going to hopefully take good care of me with this car too. Silverado looking good there. Right, it's down there is where it's really coming off. It's almost like plastic, but what they're going to do is actually repaint this satin black properly, so that should look real good when it's done. And the front of the car, obviously, a couple years ago, or last year, we got this little rock chip here and paint's coming off, unfortunately, so that should actually match when it's all done too, but otherwise, that's about all they're doing in the car. Hopefully it's gonna be done by the end of the week here. Sad to see it go. Alright, so I'm all done here at Legacy Collision. Jim did an awesome job again. You can see the back bumper cover turned out amazing. It's actually black, the tape lines look great, the plastic tip's all gone, it looks great. Front bumper cover looks great too. Everything's all fixed up on it and it's looking better than ever. So the chip's all gone. Looks great. The color match is really good, especially depending on where you stand in the light. It has to hit the panels the same, but the match is really good. Going back and forth there. This fender matches too really well. The hood, headlight buckets, they all match, or the headlight covers, the lenses, whatever you want to call them, whatever you call this, you know what I mean. That all matches great, and most importantly, our missing paint is replaced. So once again, I can't thank Jim enough at Legacy Collision in Virginia, Minnesota. He worked on this car. He's the same guy that worked on my C6 Corvette when he painted the rear bumper cover and the mirrors on it that were all rock chipped to hell. And he just crushed it. This car looks amazing. So if anyone's local to the Iron Range area, I would highly recommend bringing your car or anything to them to have them work on it because they do a good job. Jim actually kept this for an extra couple days, like I'd already mentioned, I believe, because he didn't get the spray out just perfect how he wanted it. So he felt bad asking to keep it for another couple days, but he wanted it to come back perfect, and it did. So I'll do a lot of things on a car. I'm going to be doing some painting on this car, but if you want a superior result, you do have to pay a professional for it, in my opinion. You can be the jack of all trades and the master of none. Sometimes you got to find the master, and usually it's a good body guy. So in my opinion, that's money well spent. I don't regret it for a second. So the last small thing I did was take off these Trans Am emblems. We'll get into that real quick. One other thing that's always bugged me on the car, and when I zoom in here you can see all the lint and stuff that's stuck on the sticker edges on the sail panel. These are not factory decals, and they're actually coming apart in quite a few spots. The driver's side is a lot worse than the passenger side. These are supposed to be complete, but as you can see it's peeling really, really bad. So I'm actually going to go ahead and peel off the driver's and passenger side sail panel decals as they're not factory, and I'm going to probably just do away with them. Eventually I'll have to replace the sail panel on this car because it is bubbling just a little bit, but for now, doing away with those is going to be a really big step. Like a lot of stuff you'll do, a little bit of heat's going to help. Obviously don't bear into it too much. This will burn the hell out of your hands, so just think about what it's doing to the material that it's on. So I'm going to heat this decal up for a while and then peel it off bit by bit. Alright, there we go. Got the whole driver's side off. It came out real good. All I've got is a couple of bubbles on the sail panel. You'll never be able to tell it was there, so luckily the paint's not faded or anything like that. The passenger side looks just as good, so pretty happy with how that turned out. Here's a quick view of the passenger side. Came out really, really good. You can see the outline just a little bit. I'll have to buff that, but that'll come out. But looks way better in my opinion. So that's going to about do it for today's video. The Trans Am has not been on the channel for a long time now, pretty much since I did the 12-bolt install, but there's been quite a bit going on in the background. Hopefully this is going to be a good upload to make up for the little bit of lost time that we've had with you guys watching the stuff about the car, and I'd be happy for anybody to see it in person if it works out. It's a super nice car, and slowly but surely it's becoming nicer and nicer and nicer. So along with all the regular maintenance stuff I'm going to be doing, I'm going to keep modifying it. I'm going to keep trying to clean the car up, and hopefully we're going to have a really, really good example of a 4th gen WS6. So that's about do it for this car. Stay tuned for more updates from the car behind me. I'd really like to do UMI's 1 to 1.5 inch drop kit and Coney's shock upgrade on this car. It sits kind of like a truck. We're going to have another update on this car in the near future, but this could be a pretty cool car for like $2,500 is what I'll have about invested into it at that point, with the lowering kit. We'll be right around there. The car drives awesome. A lot of crud is coming out right now. This will be in the next video, but I got an oil filter here all cracked open, and this thing is full of sludge. You can see some of the chucks I picked out. This is all from out of the pleating inside of the filter. Each one of those is full of that. So if that tells you anything, Seafoam is doing its job in there. So the car is looking really good too, so if you're into 3rd gen content or any sort of DIY restoration content, come back for this one because I got some good stuff coming with it, I promise. So like I said earlier, definitely subscribe to the channel if you're just a casual viewer. It doesn't cost anything and it really does help out the channel. It even equates to a little bit of money in my pocket to help me put some money back into these cars. Every penny that I make on YouTube goes straight back into them. So if you guys are into that sort of thing, give it a shot and give the video a thumbs up. Definitely ask any questions or drop a comment down below. I'm pretty good at getting back to everybody on it. And if I don't, somebody else probably will. There's a lot of people watching them right now. So that's about all I got. Hope to see you guys in the next video.